Very good. Thank you. It's my delight as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
First, what is the next one? Video. Introduction. ¿Cuál es la causa, no? Introduction. ಕಾಮನ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಆಗದಾವ ನೀನು ಬೇರೆ
So we got 43. Good morning, Professor Dana Shetty.
Sir, very good morning, sir. Very good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing?
Fine, fine, sir. Fine. How are you, sir?
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes, yes, yes. Thanks.
You can display the other slide, not this biography slide, the other one. There's a one-page, a color one. Yeah, that's the one. And you can make it full screen as well. Yep, thank you.
The session will be live on YouTube live also, sir.
Okay, very
Simultaneously.
nice. Excellent.
Sir, shall we start, sir?
It's right on the time. 8:30.
Good morning to everyone. At the outset, I welcome today's resource person, Professor Dr. Manu Ora, Chairman and President, Business Excellence, USA, on behalf of BVV Sangha Management, on behalf of our Principal Sri Jibidana Shetty sir, on behalf of myself, on behalf of the coordinator, Mr. Mahadev, on behalf of all the participants who have joined this 5 days Atal Faculty Development Program on outcome-based education curriculum and examination reforms. Dr. Ora sir will be delivering the session on innovative pedagogy and assessment for effective NEP 2020 implementation. Before I hand it over to Dr. Ora sir for his deliberations, I would like to introduce Dr. Ora sir to all the participants in a very brief way. Dr. Manu Ora is Chairman and President of Business Excellence Inc., a global quality management consulting firm. Sir has over 46 years of leadership experience and has guided Fortune 500 companies with Baldrige Performance Excellence Assessment. For over 28 years, as an adjunct professor, Sir teaches operations management courses at business schools globally. Dr. Manu Ora has contributed at over 680 educational institutes worldwide. Sir is a sought-after speaker on business excellence and quality management topics with over 1,180 presentations globally in 36 countries across 5 continents, and Sir has published over 70 scholarly articles. Dr. Ora has published 50 blog posts on quality management. In 2013, Sir gave 2 TEDx talks, TEDx IIT Bar Hindu University, Varanasi, and TEDx IIT Chicago. Since 2013, Sir has delivered soft skills and quality management topics using technology to over 680 colleges and universities globally, benefiting over 1 million students, faculties, and professionals. In 2016, Sir has delivered a project management for organizational excellence, a GAIN course approved by MHRD, Government of India, at his alma mater, IIT, IIT BHU. In 2016, Sir was appointed a Fulbright specialist by the US Department of State and completed his first Fulbright specialist project at IIT in March 2018. Sir has BTech in honors from IIT BHU in chemical engineering in 1968 and MS in 1970 and doctoral program in 1975 in chemical engineering from Illinois Institute of Technology, Chicago, and an MBA in the year 1985 with marketing management from Keller Graduate School of Management in Chicago. As the founder, director, and president of Blind Foundation of India, Sir has, with his team, has raised over $5 million to help over 2 million visually impaired adults and children in India. Sir received Non-Resident Indian of the Year Award 2018 in Philanthropy from Times Now and ICICI Bank in Mumbai, India. Dr. Ora has received 56 awards and honors for his outstanding professional service, including Fulbright Specialist appointment from the US Department of State. Sir received 35 awards and honors for his lifelong community service, including US President's Volunteer Service Award. Sir, in the year 1968, has received Jane Tata Scholarship in India to pursue his graduate work in the US. We are very lucky to have such an eminent personality with us to deliver a talk on NEP 2020 and its effective implementation in this FDP program. With this brief introduction, I welcome Dr. Manu Ora sir once again for this FDP on behalf of everyone here. And now it is the time for Dr. Ora to start his deliberations. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for a very kind introduction. Appreciate it very much. And good morning to all the distinguished faculty who have joined and all the participants from all over India. And it's my delight to be with you at this point. We have 65 people joining. Hopefully more will join. I was told that 171 people have signed up and around 120 were attending on average. So let's hope we can get some more people to join and benefit. So my topic is very interesting, and I want to share my presentation at this point. And I want to make it quite an interactive program, but we will work through the chat box, because once you open the volume, sometimes the noise and everything else comes up. So we will definitely have some interactions periodically within the 2-hour segment, and then lots of questions at the end, as well as, and let me share with you the roadmap for our topic for this morning. So as mentioned, my presentation is focused on innovative pedagogy and assessment for effective implementation of NEP 2020. We'll begin with the higher education challenges in India, and then focus on the need for delivering value education. And at each of these points, we'll have some interaction after I introduce few ideas. Then we'll segue into the major portion about innovative pedagogy, where first we need to engage the learners and our students. And then we need to think about creating excellence in the faculty. Then we will take a look at the effective assessment with the focus on continuous assessment rather than the midterm or the final exams. And I'll be sharing some of my personal experiences over the last 28 years, what has worked well for me. And then we'll spend a good bit of time on effective NEP 2020 implementation. There is a special program here in the US, that is the US Baldrige Excellence Framework for Education. So I'll briefly review that and summarize the presentation. There are several key references. And I want to request all the people who are on the program today, this morning, on the 5th day, to write down towards the end of my module your 2 key takeaways on the topic we have discussed in this module. And after the question and answers and the comments are over, would love to see at least one of your key takeaway coming through the chat. And that will be one way to understand what you are gaining out of the program from my session and what will you implement when you go back to your institution or workplace. So let's start with the higher education challenges in India. Now, here are some data shown from India today. Initial set of data came in 2016, updated in 2018. So, Ministry of Education, Government of India, there are over 6,200 engineering and technological institutions, which enrolls close to about 3 million students yearly. And 1.5 million engineers enter the job market every year, 1 million from engineering and rest from polytechnic and diploma granting institutions. Interestingly, a company called Aspiring Minds conducted a study of 150,000 engineering students and found from that survey that only 7% were suitable for core engineering jobs. So what happens? 93% of the students are unable to perform core engineering jobs, and that's definitely a big challenge. So the graduates are not being skilled enough to be productive part of the Indian economy, and they are adding into the unemployment line. And that, I think, is a challenge we need to tackle head on. And some of the problems which we face in India in higher education has a roots from the British education system we have adopted, which is 100 years old. And here are some of the challenges we can see. Now, I've shown 2 sides, the current state on the left side and the desired state on the right side. And the desired state is based on my observation and personally teaching in the Western world and other parts of the world. And what I see works better compared to what we have been doing in India. So the major 6 areas: learning methods, academic curriculum, quality of education, faculty knowledge, industry participation, and alumni engagement. So you can read on the left side, but I'll focus more on the right side. So in terms of learning methods, instead of the rote learnings and the dry theories, we need to instill inquiry-based learning and adopt best-in-class practices from whichever part of the world we can get it from. Next, in the academic curriculum, we need to align the curriculum to the needs of the industry where the students are going to go and serve. And one of the biggest issue I see is the lack of soft skill in the curriculum, which sort of hampers the progress of the students while they are at the colleges and the university. Difficult to find a good placement. And even if they find a placement, they are unable to make progress and hold the job. So soft skills are extremely critical, and I'll be talking more about it in a later part of the presentation. Now, in terms of the quality of education, we need to think about instilling quality both at the system level, at the overall basis, and in the curriculum. In each of the courses, there should be a focus on quality. Now, the fourth item is critical because a lot of faculties are attending this program. We need to have some industry experience, and we always need to renew and upgrade our knowledge. Because if we are not at the cutting edge as a faculty, how can we deliver the routine things to the students? Because if we are not at the cutting edge, we cannot deliver the cutting edge knowledge to our students. And personally, I've been very lucky. Before I started teaching, I had an industrial experience working with AT&T Bell Labs, a telecom company. And I was also involved with the total quality management projects within the company. Then I started teaching in the business school here. And the students really enjoyed the combination of the practical knowledge and the theory. And that combination is very important. So I've seen a lot of universities here require for person who wants to join as a faculty to have some industry experience. And if they have not much industry experience, they pick it up by doing consulting with the industry on working on specific projects, and they involve their students in solving the industry problems. So experience really helps to connect the dot between theory and the practice. Now, in terms of the industry participation, we need to invite experts from the industry to sit on the advisory board at the department level, at the overall college or the university level as well. They bring host of resources in terms of the latest trend, what is required for the industry from the students, as well as they bring in real resources to help in terms of the placement, in terms of updating the curriculum, in terms of bringing real money to do some CSR work, as well as special projects for the colleges and the university. They can bring that real resource because they are sitting on the advisory boards. And last thing, the alumni engagement. This is one of the weakest area I've seen in India. As compared to that, here in the Western world, the alumni are put on the pedestal, and they are valued so much. Versus in India, the appreciation for alumni is hardly there. Even if you go to IITs and NITs and other top institutions, very few of them recognize the alumni. And that is a shame because any university, any colleges, the branding depends on four major pillars. The first one is the faculty. Second one is the student body. Third is the administration, which should be supportive. And the fourth pillar for branding is the alumni. And we neglect that in India. So that is a major challenge we need to overcome. So at this point, I want to stop sharing and we'll pick up some comments from the chat box. Any comments? So kindly type in the chat either your comment or a question. On the first part, we just talked about the education challenges in India, higher education challenges. And let's make it as interactive as possible because otherwise 2 hours I'll be talking and all of you, some of you may be checking out, signed in but checked out. So that is not a good way to learn. So go ahead, at least few people expect some comments and any question if you have any. How to involve alumni in the course or the program outcome of the institute? Dr. Prashant has asked the question, excellent question. So what you can do is you can keep track of, first of all all your alumni, create a database, and find out who is the expertise and the knowledge, particularly if they are in the industry doing some innovative work aligned with the work of the program at the institute. You invite them, and they will be happy to provide the necessary guidance to improve the course material as well as the program outcome. In other words, they know exactly what the industry is looking for from the graduates. So they will be able to bring in that information. Now, next, there is a comment, true alumni and industry interaction is lacking, and that's the real challenge we need to overcome. So next item is successful alumni is very less in institutes. See, I think what we need to do is, first of all, many places I have seen, they have no idea who their alumni are. So nobody is keeping track of them. So this is where you need to create a major database of keep track of all the alumni who have graduated from your college or the university. Understand what they are doing, take some time to connect with them, make them feel important and bring them in for visiting, for giving some special talks. They can even do it online, and they can start providing resources when you respect them and put them on the pedestal. Okay, so Professor Nana Shetty, how to synergize industry and institution. And this is where I think we need to be open-minded, and rather than only faculties doing everything, open up to bring the industry expert on a given topic, on a given course, and invite them to provide their input. That will definitely make it very useful. Now, how can they be motivated to visit the institute? Yeah, so one of the way to do it is, if they've done wonderful work in their own field, recognize them, give them some special awards, and those awards are mainly to recognize their talent and their contribution to the industry. And once you have connected with them, they'll be more inclined to come and do the presentation. Okay, need to develop a curriculum which encourages active participation of students in the classroom activities, and which is the next topic we will be getting into more details. So please hold on that thought. Okay, now somebody is saying that the presentation slides is not visible. Let me ask the question to the organizers. Are the slides visible or not?
At present, it is not visible, sir. Prior, it was visible, sir.
Right now, we are not showing any slides. We are just doing
Yes,
discussion.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, but all three slides I had shown, they were visible, correct?
Visible, sir. Visible.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I think maybe individually somebody has an issue there. How is industry and academia support the system? We already discussed that. You bring the industry experts as well as your own alumni from the industry as well as from the academia to come and interact with you. And it requires a good plan. You need to have an expert faculty who is willing to reach out and make sure that on a regular basis there are interactions going on, and that can motivate the current students as well. They can aspire to achieve better things looking at when the alumni come and speak to them. Okay, can it be implemented in distance education? Yes. Now, I've been teaching online for the last 10 years. World caught up with the COVID situation in the last year and a half for distance learning. But fortunately, I've been teaching online for last 10 years at various universities here in the US and part of the rest of the world. So I bring in my classes experts to come in as a special guest, and they come in online and provide their presentation for about 45 minutes. Then we have a 10 to 15 minutes question and answer. And my students learn quite a bit from the practical experience of the people who are brought in as a special guest. Okay, there is a next item in the 7th Pay Commission. Industrial training is compulsory, but still government has not passed order to take training. I would not be able to comment on it because I'm based here in the US, but you can bring it up to the appropriate authority so that that thing moves forward. Next item is interesting. The teachers are overburdened in non-academic activities because of lack of manpower. So this is where your head of department and the administration has to be judicial and fair, that don't overburden them with the non-academic activities, but try to focus on the essence of education, and that is what is needed. So how and what are the parameters considered for teachers in accreditation and learning outcome? Again, some of these questions you should ask the authorities who are setting the standards, AICTE, and others, and other accreditation bodies, NAC, etc. Item here is most of the private college teachers are not getting salary as per the norms. What is government doing? Nowhere it is mentioned about salary or regular salary of the staff. Now, again, I'll have to defer this question to the administration of the private colleges. They need to be ethical, and whatever is the contract with the teachers, they need to pay them according to the norms. And I won't be able to make any further comment on that. A lot of teacher education institutes are struggling with maintaining good standards, like getting NAC, lack of quality, etc. So this is where fundamentally, with the use of the National Education Policy 2020, the entire India's entire education system has to change, system-wide upgrade, and accept where we are, and then make an effort to systematically deploy the NEP 2020, and I'll make that comment in the later part of the presentation. So for better implementation of NEP in government institutes, some policies should be changed to take decisions. Yeah, and I think the policy is excellent. Dr. Kasturi Rangan, under his leadership, the policy 66-page document is wonderful, but that's just the part of the planning. And later on, I'll show the slide about plan, do, study, and act cycle of Dr. Deming, where planning is about 10%. That's what the policy is all about. But implementing that policy will require 90% flawless execution. And we'll talk about some of the challenges we are facing in order to systematically deploy the NEP 2020. Next item, and we'll stop the discussion here. How can students and faculty exchange programs with the world-class universities? Yeah, so this is where you need to have a collaboration set up with the help of influential alumni and others who could help you open the door. Personally, sitting here, and I'm here in the US for last 53 years, for my alma mater, IIT BHU, I tried opening the doors for getting the MOU done with my alma mater here, IIT Chicago. We do the MOU, but then there is not much activity, and that is not a good thing. When you do the MOU, that means you need to take full advantage of student and faculty exchanges, sharing the curriculum, learning about the best practices, sharing some of the research ideas, and try to benefit both sides. Unfortunately, in India, there is a big show off that yes, we have 5 MOUs, 6 MOUs, but there's no real activity connected with any of those MOUs. So then it's all on the paper, and that is not a good thing. Okay, I'm going to stop at this point, and we'll continue to have this dialogue as we go in order to complete the presentation. So I'm stopping it there and back to presentation. And let's make sure that the slide is visible. Kindly,
Visible, sir.
yeah, okay, thank you very much. Now we will segue into the second item, value education in India. So here are some things, and we need to think about going back to our olden days when students used to go to Gurukul. Whether you were a king or a common person, everybody studied in Gurukul on an equal basis, and they were required to do all the chores, to do whatever it took for Guru to tell you what needs to be done in the Gurukul, so that everybody learned how to work in a collaborative way and provide services as needed. So the education system in India should focus on inculcating the character building by integrating ethics, honesty, and integrity in all our students. As we all know, there are a lot of students who do cheating, cut the corner, don't study, and at the last minute, they just copy from somebody else and try to get through the program. And that is not helping India or to themselves. Along with those three pillars of character building, ethics, honesty, and integrity, they should have a compassion for others, practice nonviolence, and practice truth all the time. Along with that, they need to show the respect for elderly, including all the faculties, respect for environment, for sustainability, and of course, reverence for teachers, because without Guru's help, without teachers' help, you cannot learn anything. And best of all, we need to instill the spirit of collaboration and cooperation rather than competition and cutthroat, pushing people down. We need to build people up. So this is the need of the day. And unfortunately, students who are joining the top educational institutes, they work hard to get in, but once they are in, their only focus is on how thick or the fat package they can get. And a lot of times they are not paying attention to learning as well. And that is not a great situation we are confronting. And I've seen that personally at number of IITs and NITs, etc. And of course, if those top institutions have problems, you can imagine what will happen at the rest of the colleges and the universities throughout India.
Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nidhaye Sarva Vidyanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Gurave Sarva Lokanam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha.
So part of the value education requires that we need to respect all our gurus and the teachers. And I've been so fortunate that throughout my education career, so starting with the elementary, middle school, high school, 2 years college in Mumbai, 4 years at IIT BHU in Banaras, Varanasi, and then 7 years here for master's and PhD, and then about year and a half, 2 years for my MBA. I had a fantastic faculties who instilled in me the spirit of learning and developed in me the curiosity and thirst for knowledge. So we need to create more teachers who are like gurus, and later on we'll quickly look at some of the things we need to do to make the teachers excellent in their craft. So now I'll take some sessions, some slides on innovative pedagogy. And I want to share with you that this specific topic I'm discussing, I've written up an article which has been accepted in Higher Education Forum. It will be published as a book with about 28 articles. Mine will be one of them. And it will be unveiled at their annual conference sometimes in March in Mumbai. So the entire presentation today is based on the article I wrote about a couple of months back. So it came in very handy. The first part in the innovative pedagogy, we need to talk about learners' engagement, and that was one or two comments we saw in the early discussion in the beginning of the program. So for the last 28 years, whenever I've been teaching, my real focus is for my students to be involved in their own learning. And when they learn something new, they are required to apply it right away in the classroom setting. And then whatever they are learning and applying, they are required to share with their classmates. So lot of focus on the peer learning, and that's what the Western world is doing. We need to increase that focus in India about peer learning, because the students learn from the faculty, from the books, but they can learn more from the interactions among the peers, because there are so many people with so many different ideas in the classroom, and we need to leverage that knowledge and make them very proficient by learning from each other. So simple but elegant model: involve, learn, apply, and share. And that has worked well for me for last 28 years. Here I want to share with you a special slide on 12 keys to the kingdom for learners' engagement. And that, if we do it well, we can create magic in the classroom. So the item 1 is, when you are starting out a topic, assign a student to do a little bit of research on the topic itself to find out what is its importance, and whatever the student can find, he or she can come and share it with the entire class. So this way they are starting to figure out a little bit more research on the topic itself. Then as a faculty, my role is to show the importance of the topic and the real world application to get the students excited in my classes. Fourth, ask the topical question more like an icebreaker at the beginning of the session, and you keep rotating the students. You can take few of them, and when the next topic comes, you can ask the others to share their view on it. The fifth and sixth are very important as a faculty. That is, we need to share the basic concepts and the principles, so they don't need to memorize. And as we currently know in India, the system is such that in education, higher education particularly, there's a lot of memorization going on, and they just spit it out, vomit it in the exam. And at the end of the exam, there is not much retention of the knowledge. And that is a real challenge and a sorry state of affair. Now, as a faculty, we need to allow the curiosity and innovativeness to flourish in the classroom, because if we allow that to happen, students will be very much engaged and they will have more interactions and more learning from each other. And then item 7, at the end of the module on a given day, I asked the question from all the students, one key takeaway, what did you get out of the session? And I made a comment about it. For my session today, you will be writing down 2 key takeaways of what you are getting out of this session I'll be talking with you. I was looking at the Harvard Business Publishing and borrowed item 8 through 11. It suggested you can conduct some short polls or do the voting. You can also arrange a role plays as appropriate, depending on the topic you are discussing. You can always form small groups to discuss several aspects of the topic under discussion. They can do deliberation and come back and report to the entire class. For a semester-long course, you can set up the teams to work on the live projects. They can do the complete work throughout the semester. At the end, they write up the project report and share their findings with the peers and the faculty. And you can always invite guest speakers to broaden the perspective. And very important, as a faculty, our role should be to replenish our knowledge on a continuous basis so that we are at the cutting edge and we give the cutting edge knowledge and the information to our students. And I've practiced all these things over the last 28 years, and I found it extremely effective. And if we do this, we get a gold star. So simple items. First thing we need to do is make sure that our learners are engaged, our students are engaged in learning. So think of it this way, you are, as a faculty, are a transmitter. And if you are at the cutting edge, you are a very powerful transmitter. However, the receiver end, they need to have their antenna tuned and they need to be attentive to receiving the knowledge you are transmitting to them. If the receiving end is weak, no matter what you do, your knowledge is not getting transmitted 100% to the students, and that's a waste. So very important in the pedagogy, we need to start thinking about engaging our students and the learners first in the classroom. Now, other thing, when I started teaching with the industry experience, I observed that in the industry, most of the work gets done through the teams. So my goal was to simulate the teamwork in my classes to start right from the beginning. So I focused on collaborative, experiential, and outcome-based learning. Now, in the collaborative way, any class like total quality management, supply chain management, project management, risk management, talent management, etc. In all these courses, I always have number of teams formed in the class. Generally, we have smaller groups here, so 4 to 5 people on the team, and they are required to be cooperating with each other. And of course, they are sharing across teams as well through status reports, so they can learn from each other. If one team has done certain things well, others can learn from it and modify their approach. Secondly, experiential. So in my classes, semester-long program, between somebody saying that my slide is not visible. Is the slide visible? Organizer, please.
Sir, it is visible, sir.
Yeah, I think individually somebody has an issue there. And as a co-host there, if you don't see the slide, let me know, because in some cases, full screen sometimes is not showing up in some format, but I'm happy that at least slides are moving and it's coming up on the screen. So as I was saying, for a semester-long program, I require them to study between 8 to 10 articles or cases from Harvard Business Review, MIT Sloan Management Review, McKinsey Quarterly, etc. And what they do is, and I'm going to share the special way they learn to read the article and summarize it in the team setting, and then they debate it in the class. And of course, experiential learning comes when they do the real life project throughout the semester and present it at the end. And in the outcome base, there is a simple reflection journal, which I'll be sharing very briefly. And with a simple focus on implementation. See, the learning is good, but if we do not apply what we have learned, then that learning is not effective, because we need to carry forward what we are learning and put it in practice. Otherwise, the time and energy you have spent, it's just one way. You learn something, you put it in your brain, put it in your mind, but you have not applied. So after a while, you will lose it. So key thing is focus on implementation. As I mentioned about the experiential part, learning from the best articles, summaries are required. And this is where they study from top line articles about various industry practices, and these articles are aligned with the topics covered in the course. And each team, they read the article, each member of the team read the article individually, then they collectively discuss what the essence of the article. And my contention is we read many things, but after a while, everything gets sort of mixed up and we do not remember or retain what the real essence of the article was. So I require them, and this practice has been perfected over 28 years. So first part, they need to identify key principles and practices from the article, 3 to 4 bullets for the entire team in a collaborative way. So each one of them write down 1 or 2 items, and then the team lead will do the editing to bring out the key points from the article. In the middle portion, each of the member of the team have to write up 5 to 6 lines connecting the theory with the practice. In other words, whatever is the principle they've observed, those principles, have they seen its application in the prior or the current work? And that they have to write it down with their individual name, and they're responsible for providing that input. And the last item is collectively for the team, 3 to 4 key takeaways, what they have gotten out of the article, which they can carry it forward for the future work. By asking them to follow this simple guideline, they only need to create a 2-page summary per team, and this thing gets graded. Item 1 and 3 are the team grading, but the item in the middle is individual grade, which carries 70%. And this is where they really need to think, reflect, introspect, and provide the best connection between theory and the practice. I mentioned about the reflection journal towards the end of the course. They need to write down in a 1-page in the bullet form 3 things. What are the 3 key learnings they got from the course? Secondly, 3 key lessons they will implement, and a brief plan on how to implement those 3 key lessons. And I keep somewhere around 5 to 10% on the reflection journal. And later on, I'll talk about the assessment, and this is part of the assessment as well. So the basic idea is when they have to write something down by doing reflection and introspection, they will be more inclined to put it in practice once they have completed the module, completed the course. Now I'm going to stop sharing at this point, and let's take up any additional comments about the portion I've covered. A few people, if you have any comments or questions, let's go through it. The engaging your students in the classroom. I showed several models: involve, learn, apply, share, collaborative, experiential, and outcome-based CEO acronym. So if you have some thoughts, questions, let's go through it. And our time is running, so I would appreciate if you have any questions or comments, put it in the chat box, please. Anyone? Okay, how to motivate peer learning? Good question. See, this is where I mentioned that in my classes, the teams are formed. Each one of them are doing different project, and there is a periodic status review. At least 3 to 4 status reviews are planned. And at each status review, different teams will make their presentation about what their plan is, what is their Gantt chart, that is the schedule, what is their budget, and I'm talking about a project management course, So they share their own work done. Then the other team will come and present their views about what they've done for their project. And they learn from each other of if somebody has done some great thing in terms of certain aspects. So for example, they are required to do the Gantt chart, they are required to do the budgeting, they are required to provide very specific things for their project, as well as work breakdown, structure, etc. And if some team has done good thing, others can learn from their examples. So learning from the active examples of other teams and sharing through the status reporting focuses and forces on the peer learning. And they are free to exchange the information across the team as well. So the goal is they need to apply whatever they've learned in the class and also try to be collaborative and cooperative with each other so they can learn more. So how to develop creative writing, innovative ideas, teamwork culture. Yeah, so I can tell you from my personal experience in the first 22 and a half years, I went through the studies in India, done number of projects, but all of them were solo projects. There was no team focus at all. So best thing to do is in your classes, create team projects. And you can have 4 to 5 students in a team. They work on a live project, they work together, and you guide them if they are not focusing on the right things. So you provide the structure, you provide the templates, and let them do the best work. The next item is what is the best method to boost the signals when they are not reaching to receiver antenna of the weak students? Yeah, so this is where you can leverage the top students who are really good in the understanding the material, use them as a role model to work with the weak students and form up sort of a buddy system. And that will allow them, one, those who are very good at studies, they can mentor others who are struggling. And I saw that personally in my 4 years in the undergraduate program, and I benefited quite a bit by sharing whatever I've done with my classmates, and they will be asking many tough questions, which allowed me to go to the bottom of the subject and understand the basic principles and fundamentals, and to convince them that that is the best way to find the solution, which cleared up my fundamentals and allowed me to do well in my exams. And that helped them. It also helped them as they learned something new as well. So you can always use the good students as a role model for them. Pair, group work, teamwork, English are working in my class, so that's great. Thank you for sharing. A couple more comments and then we'll keep moving and we'll have more interactions as we go. 1 or 2 more. And let's see, at this stage, we have 108 people, so that's great. One more comment, and if I don't see anything, then we'll stop the chat box and pick it up later. Can you explore innovative learning practices for group of students? Yeah. So first, I had personally experienced that when I do the work in a solo fashion versus when I'm interacting with others in the classroom as a student, I learn more. Because individually you could be good, but collectively you can learn from others' experiences, others' ideas as well. So the group learning is the best way to find more innovative ideas about the topic. That's one. Secondly, we can encourage the students to work in the team, create the opportunity for them to work in the teams. And then when you do the grading, you need to be keeping it focus about the outcome of the team, not individuals. And there I set up a leader, a communicator, The communicator is the only person who communicates with me about the progress or the questions about the team's work on the project. Then a researcher and an editor for the report, editor for the slides. So about 4 to 5 students who are working in a team. They have specific roles and they work together in a very collaborative way. So teamwork, a small presentation, technical and business startup projects are working in your class. So that's great. With Chandrasekhar Rao, that's a great idea. And we can all learn from each other and experiment, do the trial. Whatever works, you keep it. Whatever is not working, make sure there are some issues, you resolve it and keep moving. And this is the only way we are going to break this cycle of monotonous learning, mugging up and vomiting in the classroom. And that is not serving any purpose, because those exams are not doing anything to students and is creating extra work on the part of the faculty. Instead, use that time to do continuous assessment. So I'll hold that thought for the later part of the presentation, and I'm going to close the chat at the moment. Back to the presentation. And thank you all for being interactive, because this is the one way to continue to learn from each other. Now I want to focus about the innovative pedagogy part on the faculty excellence, and I'm going to start picking up the speed here. I want to show the difference between the average and the gifted teachers. The average teacher explains complexity, but the gifted teacher reveals simplicity. So our role as a faculty is to take the most difficult, most complex subject, understand it thoroughly, find out what is the underlying issues, what is the fundamental, and get to the core of the subject and make it very simple for transmitting to the students. And this is a effort which requires practice, and you have to make an effort to do this work. And more you do it, your students will love it, because making it very complex, you can show you are brilliant, but it's not helping your students because it's going above their head. So try to make it as simple as you can. Show the concept, show the fundamentals, show the principles underlying the issue, and then ask the students to think about where those principles can be applied in real world. And when you start doing this, students will be very excited to make the connections. Now I want to bring up another model, faculty excellence model, and I have borrowed acronym very big in India, CSIR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. So my contention is, lot of time, even in these FDPs or any learning faculty do, it's done in a solo fashion, versus if we do the faculty learning in a collaborative way under the scientific guidance of the expert faculties, by doing lot of introspection and reflection, they will have much more knowledge retained, and they will learn more as well as have more fun understanding each other's perspective. So more focus on the peer learning as a faculty. Initially, we talked about peer learning by the students and the individual learners. Here we are talking about the collaborative way to learn as a faculty. And I'm very happy to share that over the last 4+ years, I've been interacting with faculties and research scholars around various universities in India, and essentially integrated this model of collaborative and scientific guidance, doing a lot of introspection and reflection, reading the articles, doing the summaries as a teams of faculty and research scholars, and then doing some appropriate projects depending on the topic I've been teaching. So in project management, risk management, done number of projects in India relevant to the India scene as well. Now, in Sanskrit, there are many forms of teachers. So when we begin as a faculty, we are just sharing the information. We get the title of Adhyapak. When we add knowledge to the information, we get a promotion to become Upadhyay. When we share the skills, we become Acharya. When we share the insight, we become the Pandit. When we share our visionary thinking, we become the Drishta. And ultimately, in our life, our goal should be to provide the wisdom to our students and the learners. Then you get the promotion to the ultimate level guru. So it's an ongoing journey, and hopefully towards the time you are about to retire, you may get the position of guru in your topic of concentration. Now, keep in mind that we as a faculty need to educate students by engaging, energizing, entertaining, and empowering them. And we need to use each and every lever as appropriate in order to engage them and transmit the knowledge so that they are benefiting from whatever you are trying to tell them, teach them, share with them. Now, I'll take a short chat here, stop the presentation. We talked about faculty excellence. So any ideas, any questions, any thoughts, let's go through it. Then we have a soft skills and then the NEP implementation. So a couple of people, any thoughts you may want to share about engaging and instilling excellence in the faculty from your perspective? What is working for you? So kindly share. Let's keep moving, please. Few people who have some ideas about cultivating faculty excellence from your experiences, would love to hear. And distinguished faculties from the BVVS Polytechnic are also welcome to add value here. Please come in. Design critical thinking skills. Yes, that's a good one. How to minimize isolation among the faculties. So you need to create pathways so that there is an interaction among faculties on a regular basis, small groups, larger groups, department-wide meetings, allow people to share some of the new things they are doing so others can learn from it. Okay, there are some acronyms here. MOOCs, I understand what is NPTEL. British Council, Cambridge work webinars are working for you. Okay, that's good. Thank you very much, V. Chandrasekhar Rao. You've been quite active and supporting here, so that's great. Can you explain what is NPTEL? I can learn. You can explain the acronym in the chat. Okay, anyone else? Faculty excellence. This is all about all of you, the work you do day in and day out. How do you achieve excellence? How do you cultivate excellence in you as a faculty? And I'm sure there are people who have some thoughts and ideas. Assist our learners to build their problem-solving process. Absolutely correct. And our goal as a faculty is not to give them the solution, but give them resources, give them templates, and ask them to find their solution on their own. So next one, Mamta Sagar, identification of students' interest to know their goal, which can be classified into groups. Yes, excellent. Group seminar on application of science and technology in respective engineering branch of student to solve environmental problem. Yeah, and towards the later part, I'll make some comments about the importance of community service particularly working on the projects of specific needs by the community. And that is very, very important. And there is a tremendous upside potential, which we are neglecting at the moment. One last comment on faculty excellence, then we'll move to the soft skill item. And appreciate 4 or 5 key people who are providing input here. Mamta Sagar again, education is development of right understanding of harmony, learning right skill and technique leading to development of self-competence. Beautiful. National Program on Technological Enhanced Learning, NPTEL. Okay, so learn something new. National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. Thank you. It's a portal, Swayam, which is introduced by ICT and UGC. This is online courses. Okay. Help our learners to identify their prior knowledge in order to create their new knowledge through their learning process. Excellent. Nasser Dareni. Okay, last item. Okay, National Program Enhanced Technology Learning. Yes, it came in twice. Okay, thank you. I'm going to stop the chat here and back to sharing. We have some material to cover and then we'll have plenty of interactions towards the end. So I'm moving into again, in the innovative pedagogy part, soft skills in the curriculum. I made a comment early on higher education challenges in India. And let me make a point here. I've been teaching in India since year 2006 in business schools, engineering colleges. I come across brilliant students, but they all focus on hard or technical skills, and they are neglecting working on soft skills. So here I want to share with you that what is the importance of soft skills. So if you look at the latest surveys, more than 90% of the executives who are hiring new people are saying that they are looking for better soft skills over the hard or technical skills. The last bullet shows that the ability to work in a team for a new hire is more desirable than problem solving or analytical or quantitative skills. So these soft skills are extremely critical. Actually, if we inculcate soft skill as a part of the curriculum during the college and the university time, that can help students do well, as well as get better placement and able to use those soft skills to do well in growing in the new position at the companies, at the organization they join. Unfortunately, that is not the case. And this is a big challenge in India. And my observation for the last 8 years is, so far, I've not seen many places where soft skills are part of the curriculum. There are some pockets of excellence here and there, but it's not uniform, and it should be uniform for entire education system in India. And I'll make some more comments about it soon. Yeah, so to overcome this issue, at my alma mater, IIT BHU, Varanasi, we created this series by design, develop, and deliver 12 sessions over 1.5 year window, one session per month, about 1 hour, 15 minutes, 45 to 50 minutes presentation, and then 20 to 25 minutes Q&A. 6 items shown in blue are the soft skills like leadership, teamwork, time management, meeting management, decision making, project management. And 6 items in red are the quality management discipline, risk management, talent management, voice of customer management, operational excellence, supply chain management, and sustainable change management. So at that time, between 2013 to 2016, Google Hangout was free. So we used that platform and also recorded all the session on a YouTube and made those public. And the entire program is written up by the American Society for Quality ASQ India website. I've shown the Leadership Excellence Series link. And between the year 2013 to 2016, we are able to reach close to about 100 colleges and universities in India, reaching out to 6,75,000 students, faculties, and professionals. And over the years, in the 8 years, now we have reached to the million students, faculties, and professionals. I'm very happy to share that during the last 18 months, I've delivered 180 webinars on most of them on the soft skills at various venues, and I'll quickly run through them very shortly. And here they are. So starting at my alma mater, BSNL, India's telecom company, came to my alma mater, IIT BHU at Varanasi, and we had 16 one-week program to cycle about 500 mid to senior level executives on talent management topics, and 3 hours a day per week, 16 different times, 16 batches came, early morning hours in India, late night here, and 184 sessions were delivered. And those sessions were very much appreciated. And this was the first time BSNL went outside of their own training center from Ghaziabad, and they commented and commended our delivery. And of course, I was one of the many faculties who were giving the program about 35 hours per week, similar to the FDP we are all going through, that the outcome and the overall satisfaction was even better than their in-house training. Various education institutes, about 100 sessions, delivered number of sessions at IIT BHU. Then there is a group called Indo-Universal Collaboration for Engineering Education out of Hyderabad. I've taught soft skill for faculties and students. NEP 2020 FDP for leadership and administration. NEP 2020 FDP on project management, NIRF ranking improvement, etc. And very happy to share that AICTE Atal FDPs have delivered 33 of them, 13th as a chief guest, and then other sessions on leadership, teamwork, project management, Baldrige framework for education, which was done in early August at BVVS Polytechnic here. At that time, Professor Renuka Ambigar was the coordinator for the Baldrige framework for education. ASQ India, New Delhi, soft skill topics, and also delivered session on the AICTE short-term training program, and so on and so forth. Madras Management Association. Very happy to share that earlier in the year, about over 2 months, delivered soft skills sessions to 4 NGOs, 2 for Gurugram, and 2 from Kolkata, about importance of soft skills for the leaders, the volunteers, and the teachers. They were the education NGOs, etc. And basically, number of different places I've been able to contribute and reach out to the large masses using the technology. Now here I want to show a very special use of the technology. In the top right picture, you see Swami Nikleshwarananji from Ramakrishna Mission, Vadodara. He has now moved to Rajkot Center as Adyaksh. He took me to Bizek Studio in Gandhinagar, capital of Gujarat. And Mr. AJ Shah, the Commissioner of Higher Education, he is now retired, shown in the white shirt. He gave me 45 minutes to talk about effective time management. And via satellite, we connected with 450 colleges, and 5 lakh students and faculties benefited on a very important topic of effective time management. It's been professionally recorded and the link is shown. And this entire presentation has been given to Professor Mahadev, and he will be sharing it with all of you who are attending the FDP. So this is how we can leverage the technology to reach out to the masses in India. Very happy to share that our work of delivering education using the technology, soft skill mainly, we received the DL Shah Quality Award in Silver category from the Quality Council of India at their 11th National Quality Conclave in New Delhi on 20th of August 2016. You see in the picture, my wife next to me, some other members of the team, and the organizer of the QCI, the people who chose our project as the worthy recipient, the Mr. Hari Taneja is holding the plaque given to our team. Now, I want to take about maybe 2 minutes, one quick comment on the soft skill, and then we'll segue into effective assessment and then NEP 2020. And I'm watching my time here. Okay, thank you. ASQ India LES project link. Yes, you can leverage that. All the topics are recorded and you can learn from it. Kanchan Katreja, eDiksha MOOCs platform is very helpful for teaching and learning. Great. One quick comment about soft skills. If you are doing anything specifically which others can learn from you, do share it. Thank you, Nasser, for your comment. And the key thing is we all need to be open to share, because each one of you have a number of different ideas, a number of things you are doing. More you share, we all can learn from each other and become more proficient. Any quick comment on the soft skills? If you are doing something very specifically in the soft skills area, please include it in the chat box. Please come in, at least one or two people, if you are doing soft skills at your institute. I'll wait and count 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay, here we have N. Joshi. Every day in each lab session, we invite students to speak on technical topic. Great. That's wonderful. On the hard skill, anybody on the soft skill? And of course, they will speak on things, so that means their communication will improve. So that's part of the soft skill. One more quick comment. Okay, thank you. Okay, how to ensure effective implementation of soft skills for students? Yeah, so one, when you go through the link I've shared, you will figure it out that the topics are universal: leadership, decision-making, time management, teamwork, problem solving, project management. These are all the topics our students must master by getting them exposed to it. They can read some specific articles about the topics. Then they can do some discussion among the fellow students who are reading it. And those are the way you can learn and propagate the importance of soft skills. Okay, Ashwin Prakash, sharing my real-time projects and discussing site with my students, make student to solve the real-time issues. Great. And site issues also. We need to enhance effective oral communication skills to change their manner of thinking from leaner manner to matrix thinking. Yes, I think that communication part, and my comment is this: a lot of time when I'm giving presentations, very few students ask questions. They are shy. They do not want to open up or speak. So we need to encourage more sharing in terms of asking questions, and do not putting them down. Even if they ask some questions which are not very highly focused, they can learn by doing the trials. Few times they will speak. Finally, they will learn from others who are taking time to understand and ask the right questions. Demo on projects, minor, major projects. We make students to speak on latest technologies. That's good. Renuka ji, thank you. Consider weightage in examination evaluation on the basis of presentation of content also. Yes, it's coming up in the assessment part. So I'll stop the chat here. We'll keep moving because I don't want to overrun my allotted time, because my classes always start on time and they end on time. Okay, effective assessment. So at the outset, I want to make a comment. I've been through India's education system for 22 and a half years. Of course, from the age 6 to 22 years, many exams I've taken. I rarely recall any of the questions or anything relevant asked in those exams. So I think all of us will agree that exams are not doing what it's required to do. It's a lot of work, but the outcome is not the one we are looking for. What is the real outcome? The assessment should figure out whatever you are teaching in the classroom, whatever they are learning, are they able to apply it and show it to you before the course is over by working on something where they've applied the new knowledge and able to solve a problem, do a project, able to critically evaluate some of the ideas by looking at some of the best practices, etc. That is what we really need to think about. So this is what I do in my classes for the last 28 years, and now as a senior faculty, except in some places in India, they require the exams. So I keep a small component for the end term exam only, but most of the other continuous assessment is the focus for my classes. So I focus on 5 different things. Discussion board on an individual basis, and I'll cover this in a little bit more depth, each one of these items, and that carries 25% weight. Articles and case reading I discuss early on, discussion and summaries in the team format, 30%. Of course, there is an individual component in the middle. Team project report, it's on a team basis, entire team gets the same grade, 20%. Team project presentation, again on a team basis, 20%. And reflection journal, which is individual, 5%. So with these 5 assessment techniques, assessment areas, I'm able to gauge whether the students have learned something and are they able to apply it. So discussion board, around 8 to 10 discussion topics are given, 1 per week, and each and every students do the initial post, and they are required to carry the thread forward by responding to 2 of the classmates in that week. And I continue to provide the feedback and make sure that they are challenged to think out of the box and come back and provide more input. Article, case reading, discussion, and summaries. We took some time to share about it. This is a little bit more in depth, but real focus is on the 3rd bullet and sub-bullets, key principles and practices, bridging the gap between theory and the practice, and the key takeaways. And this is the reflective learning and writing in a succinct way on a 2 pages for 4 or 5 students in a team. They have to really think about putting the right input, the nectar, rather than putting a lot of fluff. And I tell them I'm looking for quality, not quantity. Our team project report, 3 to 5 students here, small teams, relevant project for the team, and variety of templates I provide. And I've given an example of project management where they get tons of templates and they are required to use their creativity to use those templates, so they create standardized project report. And this structured report facilitate objective assessment of team's collective output. Presentation, they complete the project report, and out of that comes out the project presentation. And they are allowed to do all creative stuff and make it fancy. And I allow the peer evaluation in the small components in the team project presentation, simply because when they move up in the hierarchy of the organization, they'll be required to assess various projects coming up for funding. And the last one, reflection journal, we talked about. Each and every student at the end of the course fills out one-page reflection journal, and that focuses on recapping the course and begin the journey of implementing the new learnings. So that's all about the assessment. I have about 2 minutes. I wanted to stop sharing here and take one or two items for assessment part, and then we'll have more time at the end because I want to cover the NEP 2020. Okay, using rubric of knowledge and skills tools. Yeah, thank you, Nasser. Mamta Sagar, to define the scientific terms and topic in their world for easy learning by group discussion. Wonderful. Any quick comments on the assessment? No midterm, no final exam, but continuous assessment. And I've been talking to several universities where I've been appointed as a visiting faculty, etc., in various parts of India. And some of them are thinking seriously to have more focus on continuous assessment rather than midterm and end-term exams. Anyone on assessment? Let's go. Class test, presentation, lab work. Yes, thank you, Kanchan. Okay, we'll pick up more questions towards the end. So I want to go back to the last segment of the presentation. I hope the slide is visible. Please confirm.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, thank you. So, as we all know, on July 29, 2020, central government approved the national education policy, which came in after 34 years. It's a wonderful policy, as I mentioned, under the guidance and leadership of Professor Dr. K. Kasturirangan. Policy is excellent, but the idea is how do we implement it? And the whole thing is policy is all about planning effort, which is done very well, but it only counts 10%. The real solution is 90% focus on executing the policy as given to us throughout India for all education system, K through 12, as well as all higher education institutes. So towards implementation, and I'm very happy to share that around early October, mid-October, I had some interactions with the chairman of AICTE, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe. I shared some of the ideas and he liked those and he said, you should join the committee. And the number of workshops and webinars were conducted on implementation aspect of NEP 2020. The last committee, which was constituted for the 9 days, 22nd to 31st of October, under the leadership of Professor Sanjay Dande and 9 other distinguished faculty from various parts of India shown here. It was an honor to be part of this elite team to provide the input, and all the suggestions and input I had provided was accepted and incorporated into the implementation plan put together by AICTE. And special thanks to Colonel Venkat, the director from AICTE Faculty Development Cell, for interacting with all of us and taking the work forward. So the committee deliberated, and most of the deliberation was done by webinars in the afternoon time, which will put me in the early hours, so I could not join any of those sessions physically. But on a daily basis, the output was shared by Colonel Venkat, and I was able to provide my suggestions and ideas through email on a daily basis over the 9 days. And these are the 9 areas they focused on by the committee: multidisciplinary and holistic education, equity and inclusion in higher education, research, innovation and rankings, global outreach of higher ed, motivated, energized and capable faculty, which applies to all of you here, integrated higher education system, governance and regulation, promotion of Indian languages, arts and culture, big focus on learning in mother tongue, and technology use and integration. So there are short-term goals 2021, medium-term goals 2022 to 2025, and then the long-term up to 2035. So it's a 15 years window. I'm going to just highlight few items in the interest of time. And of course, you will have the presentation copy through Professor Mahadev. So one of the things the policy has suggested, and the short-term focus is that there'll be many electives available, 60% core, 20% program electives, but the last 20% will become the open electives. So what I suggest is, if you are in the engineering program, encourage students to take some business courses so they can have a better combination. And if they are studying the business, they should take some operation courses so they can get the real world information and experience. Mix of delivery, face-to-face, which is the standard way, online, we learned through the pandemic, and of course blended, and lot of engineering courses where the lab is needed. You cannot do it online. You need to be there in the labs. Innovative revision of curriculum with the assessment tools and making of the bridge courses. Access, equity, quality, and affordability and accountability to all. Talked about use of mother tongue, credit recognition and transfer by setting up academic bank of credit. Big focus on internationalization and integration of school and higher education, that is K through 12 with the higher education institute, make it seamless, and lot more focus on the vocational training, almost up to 50%. So these are the short-term goals. Medium-term goals for the 2022 to 2025. Greater mobility of students in India for education, and the establishment of education departments at all HEIs, higher education institutes, vocational program we talked about, creating policies and roadmap for inclusion, implementation, all facets of education in professional, technical, liberal, medical, law, and agriculture, and more higher education institute program use mother tongue, because we learn well when we learn in mother tongue. And I can tell you personally, and I'm sure some of you may have similar experience, 1 through 11th grade in my hometown Amreli in Gujarat, it was a studies were in Gujarati, and of course English and Hindi were subjects, but the medium of instruction was Gujarati. So I was able to have great fundamentals, and of course I paid the price. And the first year science, when I went to Khalsa College in Mumbai, I had to first pick up the English and then focus on the subjects. But eventually it all worked out because the foundation was solid, learning in the mother tongue. And the long-term goals 2026 to 2035, the entire vision statement of NEP should be successfully achieved by 2035 and avoid the fragmentation of higher education, establish and transform at least one HEI into large multidisciplinary HEI in every district. And there are about 712 to 718 districts in India at the moment, the latest numbers. 4-year B.Ed degree as minimal qualification of school teachers, and Sanskrit University will move forward as a large multidisciplinary institution of higher learning. So AICTE has provided a good roadmap, short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. So this is the way to take the NEP 2020 and start implementing it in the short-term, medium-term, and long-term. Now, here are some of the key challenges. So let's begin to focus on it for the next 10, 12 minutes. I want to wrap up the NEP part, and then we'll have some question and answers and key takeaways. So, as I mentioned, policy is great, but the real fear is, are all the education institute going to implement it on a systematic basis? Unless there is a sound structure, it will be a shotgun approach, cherry picking. What you want to do it, and rest will be on the side. Some of the suggestion I had made was to engage the alumni and industry experts in the NEP 2020. There should be a strategic plan developed around NEP 2020 implementation, and that needs to be communicated to all stakeholders. Generally, I don't see that. I've been observing one or two people. Generally, the Dean R&D gets the nod to look at the 2020 implementation. He or she will do some work, report higher up, and rest of the people have no idea what's going on. We talked about seamless transition needed from K through 12 to the HEIs. And biggest challenge will be uniform implementation approach across all HEIs. Unfortunately, in India, we do not have that culture of sharing, but we can learn from some of the successes and failures of the institute, which come out of the gate fast, and they have taken on lead on implementing NEP 2020. We can certainly use some change agents to bring the outside perspectives, and few pilots needs to be conducted to understand the landscape, what are the issues, and how we can overcome them. 9 and 10 are extremely important for each of the educational institute. The leadership must understand the sustainability and their roles, and they should be committed, involved, and supportive for implementing NEP 2020, and very much able to leverage project management and risk management knowledge and proficiency in soft skills, both among faculties and the students. So these are the challenges. And to overcome some of that, I'm suggesting a simple NEP 2020 project structure. We need to create a council at each higher education institute with top leader in charge, appoint a champion who reports to the top leader of the council, 3 major clusters, short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals and objectives. And in each cluster, include more like a trio, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, faculty, alum, and industry expert per cluster, using their expertise and experience, proven track record with a positive can-do attitude and a willing volunteer. As I mentioned in the previous slide, develop vision, mission, and values for NEP 2020. That's your strategic plan. Communicate it to all stakeholders. And in the next slide, I'll show you the Japanese way of ocean planning to communicate it to all stakeholders. Provide relevant training to all stakeholders. Use project management discipline to monitor the progress of NEP 2020. Conduct quarterly review. Include it in the newsletter and intranet to communicate your progress. Make all stakeholders accountable for the results, and celebrate NEP 2020 successes with all stakeholders. So this simple structure will allow you to do things in a systematic way. Will it not be nice if all higher education institutes are using the similar foundation to move forward and then continue to share their successes and failures with others so everybody can learn and benefit from each other? So what is NEP implementation? It's a transformation journey. It's like going to Mount Everest. Now, if you want to climb the Mount Everest, you need to have a lot of planning, preparation, training to be done, physical fitness as well as mental fitness in order to reach to the summit and come back alive. This is what exactly NEP 2020 journey is all about. And I'm talking about last 36 years of real change management, transformation journey, execution experience with leading or coaching in all 5 different domains: 1, education sector; 2, government areas, excuse me, Egypt and Turkey; 8 entities in the corporate in US; 2 in the professional groups in the US, and 2 in the non-profit. And been fortunate to use the Baldrige Performance Excellence Framework since 1989 in my classes, and also design and deliver project management and risk management courses globally since 2008. So some important items: importance of planning. Dr. Deming cycle, plan, do, study, and act. Dr. Deming, along with Dr. Juran, were sent by the US government to Japan to rebuild their industrial economy after World War II. They taught the Japanese how to do improvement for process improvement, quality management, quality improvement, etc. So the guidance is you need 10% excellent plan, but 90% flawless execution. So NEP 2020 policy is your 10% excellent plan given. We have it. But the next 90% effort should be flawless execution in a systematic way. And remember, planning without execution is futile, but execution without planning could be fatal. And a very simple comment: at India scene, we need to do better for planning. A lot of time, good planning is missing. Things happen by happenstance, then people are happy. But if things go bad, then you are scrambling. So you need to do the plan, but then you need to execute the plan, study the results, and make sure you are getting what you have planned for. So change management requires 3 pillars. 1, the leadership to lead and create the change by providing direction. You need the talent management, that is employees who are going to implement the change. And you can use project management as a backbone to facilitate the change. So leadership, talent management, project management, these 3 areas are needed. Also, based on all the experiences of successful change journeys, a change or transformation journey will only be successful when then 3 C's are working in unison, in collaboration, in harmony. So CEO, Chief Executive Officer, which is at the university, could be the Vice Chancellor, Principal, Director level. They are in charge of the change, managing the change. The CFO, generally the registrar, the person who handles the money, they create the finances needed for the change. But in general, CPO, Chief People Officer, is missing in action. Now, at the industry level, there is a major HR function: VP of HR, CEO, CFO, and VP of HR. They all work in unison, in harmony, in order to carry out major changes and major transformation. So think about considering appointing a HR head, Chief People Officer, which will become helpful in NEP 2020 implementation, as well as bringing the right talent into your institution. I talked about Hoshin planning for communicating your vision, mission, and values for NEP 2020 at the highest level. They create the key strategic goals, go to the next level, all the way to the department, but then there's a bottom up. So top down, bottom up, and you meet in the middle. And this is what you do to communicate your major activities you are trying to achieve for a given year and with respect to NEP 2020. So here is the specific recommendation I provided on FDPs, administration and leadership, sustainable change management, Baldrige framework, and community service. And let me make a quick comment on the community service. Did the back of the envelope calculation, if all the higher education institutes allow their students to do 2 hours of community service per every week in 8 months window, it could amount to 16 billion hours of community service project work done by students in the surrounding communities around the institutes. A huge impact. Management for the project leads in the middle level, department heads and deans, they need to have focus on project management and risk management, and the faculties on soft skill program. Major items, leadership, decision making, time management, teamwork, and project management. And then they teach that to their students. Happy to share that around February or so, Atal Training and Learning, Atal Academy, 127 FDPs were identified. And Dr. Soni, who was in charge of those FDP, I gave the input on those 10 items as the emerging area FDPs on NEP 2020 implementations shown in the blue. And the Baldrige framework was conducted here by Professor Renuka Ambigarji, and number of other programs have been conducted by different institutions on the FDPs, and I've attended some of those as a peer reviewer. Also involved in higher education modules, emerging pedagogy out of Chennai, Center of NEETer, institutional management of entrepreneurship out of Chandigarh, and institutional assessment out of Bhopal. Work is kind of slow. Initial plan was to be ready by August, September, but because of the pandemic, things are on the back burner and a little bit slow to come out. Very happy to share that NEP 2020 implementation, some of the FDPs I had suggested were delivered. One on leadership at the Vice Chancellor, Director, and Principal level. 16 leaders from 8 different institutes attended. Project management, 21 mid-level deans, department heads from 8 different institutes attended. Soft skill FDP on the faculty, 78 of them out of 18 different institutes over the last 1 year. And soft skill career development program for students, where 350 students from 35 institutes attended those sessions. Those were collaborative, experiential, and outcome-based teaching and learning. Very happy to share that one of the AICTE orientation session, I was invited to give a short presentation on how to effectively design and deliver FDPs. And you can see all the dignitaries from the AICTE, the chairman, the vice chairman, member secretary, Dr. Soni, etc. And to my right, Professor Anil Sasabudheji. Last quick item, and then we'll take some questions. US Baldrige Excellence Framework, as I mentioned, in the first week of August, Professor Renuka Ambigarji spearheaded the specific FDP on deploying Baldrige Excellence Framework in education for India's higher education institutes. So this framework has 7 categories. Leadership is like an engine, category 1. Strategic plan, customer focus, measurement analysis, knowledge management, workforce focus, and operations focus. Category 1 through 6 are processes, ultimately leading to sustainable results. That's category 7. And this thing is in place since 2001 for education, but it started in 1988 for manufacturing, service, and small businesses. And I've been very delighted to share with you that I have experience in the corporate side deploying the Baldrige, using Baldrige framework in teaching total quality management courses, and allowing using the Baldrige in education. And the last item you see is the Atal FDP conducted here at BVVS Polytechnic under the leadership of Professor Renuka Ambigarji. The Baldrige recommendation is, it is a non-prescriptive self-assessment method, and major focus of this framework is to focus on excellence, not the compliance only. In India, we have a tendency just to do the bare minimum, that is to comply. But that tendency doesn't allow us to become the world class, because we are not there in the top 100 or 200 in the world's top 1,000 educational institutes. It allows you to find areas of strengths and opportunity to improve, and those office opportunity for improvement can be prioritized and focus on deploying them to achieve overall sustainable results for achieving the NEP 2020 implementation systematically. So in summary, for my module, the Higher Education Institute India should impart value education to all students. This should be the fundamental focus, not just give the technical knowledge, but insist on imparting value education. As we discussed in the pedagogy part, first we need to engage the learners and students in the classroom. We as a faculty must be achieving the excellence so that we can transfer the best knowledge. Continuous assessment for the course is more effective than midterm and end-term exams. Baldrige framework can be used for effective implementation of NEP 2020. And bottom line, effective NEP 2020 implementation will require a laser-sharp focus on a wartime footing. Tons of great linkages, presentations around the NEP 2020. And skilloutlook.com carried a 2-page article approved by Professor Anil Sahasrabudheji, Chairman AICTE. He encouraged me as a part of the committee's work to publish it. So as I mentioned up front, everybody should write down 2 key takeaways for this specific FDP and the module you have just witnessed in the last 1 hour and 50 minutes, 55 minutes. Okay, with that, we are ready to take questions through the chat box. And after the questions and comments are done, let's at least have few of you write down 1 key takeaway into your chat box. Thank you, Arun Joshi, for a comment about excellent presentation. Rajeshwari, good session, great. Let's put some substance in there besides good session or excellent session. Any questions for the module on innovative pedagogy and assessment for effective implementation of NEP 2020? Officially, we have 6 minutes, 7 minutes before we close the program from my side. Chat is open, please come in. Either you have a question or a short comment or 1 key takeaway. Would love to hear from some of you. We have 108 people at the moment. is quiet. Takeaway, effective assessment. Thank you, Vishwanathan. And Joshi, eye-opening session. Great, thank you. Takeaway, focus on soft skilling improvement. And Joshi, great, thank you. Keep going. We have only 3 or 4 people have put in. Rest 100 people have not done any effort yet. Well-tuned narrative towards NEP. Thank you. Insightful presentation. Learned innovative pedagogy development methods and importance of soft skills. Great. Now take it forward, Preeti, at your place and try to implement some of these ideas as best as you can by keeping your department head and higher ups into the loop and encourage them to think out of the box. Okay, we can, sure. Okay, keep going. Soft skills are needed to be conducted from the early semesters. Yes, thank you, Renukaji. Very first year, you need to inculcate in them the importance of soft skill, which will allow them to do well for the rest of their program at the colleges and the universities. And they can continue to excel using those soft skills. More input. What is expected from a faculty for short-term goals? So I think the administration, the leadership has to take the lead and engage the faculty to get into the implementation mode, and particularly the deans and department heads who are involved. Faculty can start helping them on the aspects from the short-term goals shown by the AICTE. Strategic use of digital tools, yes, that's the effective use of technology in the teaching and learning. And I think the pandemic taught us great lessons how to be proficient in delivering online programs. And key is to engage the learners on the online program. It should not be very passive, only one-way listening. And I can tell you all my online sessions I've been teaching, they are extremely interactive and they all need to be on their toe in order to respond to the questions coming up either from the fellow students or from me. So they cannot go to sleep on me. Okay, keep going. We have 3 more minutes. Let's make best use of the time. Any more? How about the organizers? 12 keys to the learner's engagement. Vishwanathan, yes. Okay, 1 or 2 more. 2 more minutes to go. We'll give 1 minute to the organizer for wrapping it up. Simple way to improve, learn. Perfect. Okay, back to you. And thank you again, all of you, for being interactive and adding input and adding value so that we can learn from each other. And okay, very nice comment from Nasser. critical thinking, problem solving, decision making skills in the near future, they should consider as a subject alone. We need to teach, learn at any level. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Okay, journal club activity, that's very good. I'm happy that you found that, Nasser, that knowledgeable and valuable discussions. Yeah, the proof of the pudding is to take this knowledge forward and start applying it. Because once you apply, you will know what works, what does not work, and how do you make it work. Okay, I'm going to close the chat box now. Back to the organizers. We have 1 more minute left officially. So thank you, Renukaji. Agree, we can ask, comment, NEP suits the culture. There will be drastic changes in research and other innovative activities in the coming years. Okay, back to the host.
Sir, I think interactions are over. Most probably now it's time for me to extend thanks to you, sir.
Yeah.
Really, it's a wonderful session, and it was interactive also. Sir, you are the backbone for the success of our institution's 2 Atal FDPs organized earlier in the month of August, that is the Baldrige Excellence Framework, and today's FDP also. Yeah, your guidance for the coordinators has been much more, and because of your support and guidance, they are able to effectively implement and be successful in these programs. So about this session, sir, from this session, we have learned, along with me, all the participants have learned a lot of useful information, and out of which I find that industry participation and the alumni participation in the academia is the most important part of the future education system of India, that is NEP 2020, that we need to look into very seriously. Then promoting peer learning in students as well as in faculty also. This is what we are missing. And the third component, which most of us are missing as a faculty members, we should take the responsibility that the soft skills of the students need to be improved. As from your presentation, we could come to know that 90% of the usefulness is from the soft skills. So we need to look into these areas. And the reforms in the examinations also, that we need not think about end examinations and mid-semester examinations. Continuous assessments is the most key part of the learning of any of the education system. So, sir, these were the wonderful information that we could get from your session, and also the challenges of implementing the National Education Policy 2020. So with this, on behalf of our BVVS Sangha management, and on behalf of our principal Sri G.B. Danashetty sir, and also on behalf of the coordinator Professor Mahadev, and also on behalf of myself and on behalf of all the participants who have joined here, I am very much thankful for your wonderful and most useful session, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and thank you for very kind summary. And I really appreciate the interactions we had. And challenges are, how do we implement NEP 2020 effectively? And each one of us should become the torchbearer, take it forward, do something very specific and meaningful, so India becomes the top in the world as far as the education is concerned. And we should become the beacon of light for other developing countries as well. So with that brief remarks, I would like to take your leave. It's past midnight here in Chicago. And thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this wonderful FDP, second one for your institute. And very delighted to be working with all of you. And thank you and wish you all the best. So have a great day. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'll be signing off.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next session.
Dear participants, yeah, it was a wonderful session from Dr. Manu Ora. I hope all of you have enjoyed and got a lot of information. And now we have next session at 11:15. That's on the model question paper design and presentations by the participants. Hope that there is also a case study presenting by our coordinator, Mahadev sir. One presentation will be there from Mahadev sir on our own institution model question paper. And also, as you already know, we have also invited Kotur Setter sir for this session, and Kotur Setter sir will be joining at 12 o'clock. So mostly we will take up the presentations of the participants from 12. Okay. So those who are all interested to present your model question papers, I think they should give their names. They should give their names in the WhatsApp group so that the coordinator will look into them and opportunity will be given one after the another, looking into the availability of the time. So therefore, all should prepare, all must present, and we have a sufficient time because anyway, we are going to take up the concluding session maybe from 2 o'clock onwards. So still we have a lot of time left. So therefore, we want the organizers want all the participants to present their model question paper with respect to the discussions we had with yesterday's resource person, Dr. Kotur Setter. So I think now we shall take a leave till 11:10, and I request all the participants to join back at 11:10 sharply. Thank you.